Let's try that one more time. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. And alhamdulillah ta'ala. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina. ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil in our soul and from our sinful deeds. Those who are guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one can misguide them. Those who are not guided by Allah, there is no guide for them. I bear witness that there is no deity, there is no God worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. O ye who believe, revere Allah as He should be revered, and die not except as Muslims. Amma ba'd. I'd like to welcome you to the Islamic Society Leading American Muslims, otherwise known as ascertain Inc., an organization established to conduct dawah, to invite people to the true and peaceful message of Islam, and once they get here, to encourage them, empower them, and educate them in a way that they will be fortified and nurtured in this faith. We pride ourselves on creating a space that wherever you are in your faith journey, you're welcome here. I think people purposely don't come because I say this every Sunday and they don't want to hear it anymore. But it's important for those people that come for the first time and to be reminded of the vision of this organization. We want to create a safe place for you to come and be who you are and become who you want to be in your worship as a Muslim. Having said that, I would like to recognize anyone that is here for the first time today. Anyone here for the first time, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Ansari, and I've been living in this city for the last 25 years. And I'm connected with the mosque, not a 5-time, but I try to come as much as I can. And I just find out about your program, so I just decided to come and listen to you.
Well, we're very happy you came, and we hope that this will be the first of many times that you'll be with our family. We meet here every Sunday since 2007. We've been meeting here at this time, so welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else here for the first time? Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rania. I'm here with my sister, Taman. I'm visiting from Little.
Alhamdulillah.
Really?
We're happy to have you. Alhamdulillah. So let me just...
You're not happy to have me?
I'm always happy to have my mommy. Let me just remind you of the announcements. We will have our monthly potluck, which is the 4th Saturday of every month. The 4th Saturday, so if a month has 5 Saturdays in it, it's not the 5th, it's the 4th. Which one did I say?
The 4th.
Okay, very good. So the next one will be November the 28th at 6 p.m. at St. Luke's United Methodist Church. That's 6 miles up the road. At 6 o'clock. Bring a meal, bring something to share with everybody. Don't bring desserts, it's not a tea. Bring some good, healthy food so we can nurture the physical body. And then we always nurture the spiritual body. One of the policies of ascertain Inc. is that we never get together without having a halakha. We never get together without praising Allah and mentioning Allah and the Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the corner, the very foundation of what we do is all about the Quran and the Sunnah. We collect non-perishable items. Thank you whoever bought those items that are in the window back there. Unbroken cell phones, which we donate to Harbor House for victims of domestic violence. For our new folks that are here today, I am the chair of the Orange County Domestic Violence Task Force, and we have collected approximately 1,000 phones, this small group. Now in about 15 minutes, probably another 20 people will be here. That's typically the case anywhere. And they won't have the announcement, so maybe you will share it with them, inshallah. Empty ink and toner cartridges, we use those to defray the cost of administrative stationery, that kind of thing. And that really helps us a lot. If you'd like to know what's going on with the organization, contact Maysoon, who's in the corner over there. She is our one of the pillars of this organization. She's been working with us for 20 years. Yeah, and Maysoon, I can't thank you enough for all that you do. She's here in the mornings, probably 9:30, cleaning this place to make it nice and enjoyable for you. She gets up every Sunday morning and usually bakes something fresh and homemade to bring. And she'll be here when everybody else is gone to make sure that we leave this place better than we find it. And so I can't thank you enough, and may Allah bless you with
Inshallah, she will go to Jannah.
That's exactly what I said. I will be speaking at the Villages. It's called the United Church of Christ at the Villages on December the 13th, and that will be at 9:30 in the morning, so you'll have to be up and at it. I'm actually planning on counseling the class that day. It's something I never do, but I would like as many people to go as possible so they can see a showing of Muslims. What's beautiful about our class is that we have diversity, and it would be really neat if we had about 25 people in that church from our class that Sunday morning. And it would be pretty interesting because I'll be talking about love in Islam, and there will be a rabbi and a Christian minister, and each of us will have 7 minutes to talk about love from our paradigm, our religious paradigm. So I really hope that everybody will make an effort if you have to carpool, but I'm really asking you to support that event and be there. This will be the 6th time I've been in the pulpit at this church. I really like you to be there.
In villages, there are more elders.
Yes, there are. Okay. Please pray for Zane's father, Zane Latif's father, and also for Kathy's parents, Kathy Beal's parents, who are having rather challenging medical blessings. To start today, I really want to see what you learned last week in terms of, I'd like to try to wrap up this verse 153 today if possible. So, in order to do that, I need to hear from you how effective or how efficacious I've been as a teacher. What is the role of patience in Islam or in your life as a Muslim?
Lot of sabab.
Yes, somebody raised their hand.
Should you stay fast in your belief and if something comes your way, your attitude does not waver, your psyche does not waver?
Did everybody hear that? Did everybody hear it? Okay, very good. That's one. What are the 3 different kinds of patience? Because I can't move on until I know that you know this. This is fundamental to your growth as a Muslim. Does anybody know? Yes?
Spiritual patience?
Well, there's 3 kinds, 3 areas that you address.
Iman?
No? Okay, let's do it again, and then we're going to have to go over it. Number 1 is the patience to obey whatever Allah has prescribed. That requires patience. Here I am watching NFL, and the alarm clock goes off, the adhan clock goes off. It is patience that I must do what Allah has prescribed for me. And then the patience to avoid prohibitions. It takes a lot of patience. And the example that I used last week is, I'm really, really hungry, and somebody comes into the office party, and the only thing they did is they ordered pepperoni pizza. And I'm thinking, oh, I've never had that. It smells so good! And I'm so hungry. And I can just tear the pepperoni off and still eat it. Can we? No. But it takes patience to do that. It takes patience whenever you are a shabab, a youth, and you are looking at a beautiful person in your class, and they ask you out, and mom and dad would never find out. For you to say no. May Allah make paradise more beautiful than that woman or that man. So patience to obey, patience to avoid, and patience with qadr or fate. So what does that mean? That means that no matter what comes your way, it doesn't matter what it looks like, whether you're losing your home, your car is getting repossessed, you find out you got cancer, you find out you have a stroke, it doesn't matter. You say alhamdulillah. And I showed you all of these ahadith, right?
Yes.
About the gifts of these things. This is something that as a teacher I want you to memorize. Every single day of your life when you wake up and you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu rasuluh, you say, oh Allah, give me the patience to be obedient to that which you have prescribed. Oh Allah, give me the patience to avoid that which you have prohibited, and give me the patience to accept every single thing that comes my way and to know that it is from you. Does everybody have that? This is so important. Does anybody remember the first level, the states of the soul that I talked about last week?
The nafs.
Yes, which one?
This is your soul. And then qalb is your heart, and ruh is your spirit.
Very good. So nafs is your, say it like,
Soul.
let everybody hear it.
Nafs is your soul.
Nafs is your soul,
Qalb is your heart.
qalb is your heart,
And ruh is your spirit.
and ruh is your spirit. Very good. Now, there are 3 stages of development of the soul that the scholars of Islam, and they are mentioned in the Holy Quran. How many of you know them? I have mentioned them already. And this will be seen, of course, on Jeopardy, I hope. I have to make sure Susan gets this. Can anybody name them? No? Okay, so that means I have to go back.
I mean, I can, but I didn't know if you wanted.
I want anybody,
Okay.
just because you're my wife doesn't mean you're exempt from answering the question.
Nafs amara, nafs lawama.
Okay,
nafs
hold on.
mutmainna.
Nafs can you tell me which one that is?
That's the soul that is unconscious.
What's the next one?
Nafs lawawa.
Okay,
And then nafs.
what's that one?
That's the reproaching soul.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what's the other one?
Nafs mutmainna.
And nafs mutmainna. Very good, Lorraine. You get the bonus points today.
You go, girl.
Okay, I'll wait till after class.
I would hope so.
So when we say this nafs mutmainna, I want you to think of the soul at peace. This is the soul that is at peace because it has obeyed Allah. It has obeyed what it knows. It has obeyed what is prohibited, and it has accepted whatever comes its way. Therefore, it is at peace. Do you see the connection?
Yes.
What did the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ say? He said that patience is what of faith?
Half of faith.
Half of faith. 50% of faith is patience. Do you see the importance of understanding this in our life? And do you also understand that patience, and I have to repeat this because I can tell that you're not quite as, everybody isn't able to recapitulate, I think is the word I'm looking for, exactly what I've taught you. And I want you to have that on this subject matter. It is vital to your iman that you really understand this. Because if you are not patient, it will affect your iman. If you are not patient, when the prayers come in, you won't pray. If you're not patient and you're a new Muslim, you might give up on the fasting. So, I'm going to start here because I think we do need to review it just so that you have it. And I'm going to race today. I'm going to really try to be fast. So if you ask me a question, I'm going to cover it. If you don't mind, I'm going to tell you that because I want to finish this today so that we can get to verse 154, inshallah, next week. Nafs mutmainna is a self that reaches the ultimate peace. In modern psychology, these two categories are that of ego and superego. Initially, the ego is that part of the id which has been modified by the direct influence of the external world. So in other words, if you look at Elijah, who on the 24th of this month is 8 months old, he has not developed an ego that I've seen yet. But it will soon arrive before you can know it. And the I will take over. And we'll talk more about this. The superego incorporates the values and morals learned to control these impulses. In Surah 89, Al-Fajr, 27 to 29, to the pious or righteous soul, ruh, will be said, O thy soul, the soul which is tranquil and has achieved confidence in Allah by absolute submission, in complete rest and satisfaction, enter thou then among my devotees, yea, enter thou my heaven. So here we are talking about which state? Nafs mutmainna, yes, very good. So we see that there's a reward attached to evolving to this state. Will it happen automatically? Will you be possessed with this? No. Allah said He does not change the conditions of man except by His own soul. So if you do not bring your soul into submission to what Allah has prescribed, if you don't submit your soul that you avoid what is prohibited, and if you don't submit your soul that you accept whatever Allah brings your way, you will not be elevated spiritually. Welcome. The righteous and patient believers enter into their inheritance and receive their welcome with the title that suggests freedom from all pain, sorrow, doubt, struggle, disappointment, passion, and even further desire, at rest and peace in a state of complete satisfaction. This is the opposite of cognitive dissonance. Does anybody know what that means besides Abila and Tina? Anybody?
know what word?
Cognitive dissonance. Alright, I want to give you an example because the whole of the Islamic paradigm is so tied to the world of psychology. If I say to you, I don't believe in smoking. I don't believe in smoking. But when you came up today, I was standing out there smoking a cigarette. That's called cognitive dissonance. It means that my beliefs and my behavior are not aligned. My beliefs and my behavior are contradictory. They are incongruent, as we would say. So you might say, well, brother, I thought you said that you didn't believe in smoking, but did I see you smoking? So when we get ourselves spiritually in tune, then what Allah has said that we do, that's what we do. What Allah has said we don't do, that's what we don't do. And then we accept what Allah sends our way. In Muslim theology, this state of the soul is the final stage of bliss known as mutmainna. This soul has achieved tranquility and confidence in Allah by absolute submission. What I want to say to you is that it is possible for you to receive or to develop confidence in your relationship with Allah. And this is not ego. This is more of a spiritual centeredness. When you know that you know that you know that you are obedient to Allah, that you are praying 5 times a day, that you are fasting in the month of Ramadan, that you are paying your zakat and you're not looking for every loophole in the world to get out of it, then there's a confidence that comes inside of your heart, your call. We know whether or not we are doing what we're supposed to do, right? Is that arrogant if I say I'm doing what I'm supposed to do? No. The Quran talks about this confidence. My vision for everybody in this room is to have a confidence that they are practicing their Islam confidently. That their iman is such that they feel good about where they are. That they are consistently monitoring where they are spiritually. And consistently trying to grow. The unregenerate human soul that seeks its satisfaction in the lower earthly desires is referred to in Surah 12, Surah Yusuf, verse 53, as the nafs amara. And it exhorts one to freely indulge in gratifying passions and instigates doing evil. So that soul is sort of on automatic pilot. That soul is sort of unconscious. That is the soul that does what it wants to do. It's all about desires. If it smells good, it smells it. If it tastes good, it eats it. If it looks good, it looks at it. If it feels good, then it touches it. With no reference to what Allah has said whatsoever. In modern psychology, this concept of psyche was identified by Freud with id, with the id part of the psyche, or the soul. And let's look at this. In Surah Yusuf, verse 52 and 53, this say I, in order that he may know that I have never been false to him in his absence, and that Allah will never guide the snare of the false one, nor do I absolve my own self of blame. The human soul is certainly prone to evil unless my Lord do bestow his mercy, but surely, certainly my Lord is all forgiving, most merciful. So here we are looking at the wife of the Aziz, the king, who desired this very beautiful and handsome man, Yusuf, the most beautiful man, according to Ahadith, that the world had ever seen. He was like Mr. GQ. Some scholars say that this is a continuation of the speech of the Aziz's wife, but the majority of commentators construe this to be spoken by Yusuf, in which case they would mean that Yusuf was referring to his fidelity to the Aziz, that he had never taken advantage of his absence to play false with his wife, although he, Yusuf, was human and liable to err. The Aziz's wife, while fully reprobating her own guilty conduct, claims that she has at least been constant, and that she hopes for mercy, forgiveness, and the capacity to understand at last what true love is. What we know in the story is that she seduced Yusuf to her room, and when he went to walk out, I guess he was sort of wearing a robe, and she grabbed him from the back. Well, if a man comes out of a woman's room without his robe that he had on when he went in there, he might be sort of subject to a little bit of criticism, right? Particularly if you're from the Muslim community. You will be assumed guilty before found innocent. Whatever false charge she made it in a moment of passion. And this is really understand that you need to get and understand and look at what drives her behavior. What was it? Passion. We have all kinds of passion in this world. And last week we listed like 15 things on the board. Passions. Those passions will take you right straight to hell if you do not control those passions. Verse 53 refers to the nafsa, the soul, amara, which is the soul or self that is prone, impelling, headstrong, passionate, and impatient to commit, omit, or accept fate, what is. So no matter what comes, people, they complain, they moan, they gripe, and they grumble. Does that Is that indicative of a patient person?
No.
Does that sound like a person that says, I believe that no matter what comes my way, it is from Allah?
No.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like cognitive dissonance, doesn't it? Patient people are aware that the self has motives for fulfilling its bodily needs. These motives comprise of propensities and impulses, appetites and anger. Sometimes people will say, well, you know, I have a little appetite for gambling. I think I'll go to Las Vegas. People will say, I have a little appetite for pornography. Let me get on my computer. And let me just share something about that for a moment. That the same chemicals are emitted from the brain that are emitted when a person smokes crack cocaine whenever you look at pornography. And we have an epidemic problem in the community that we don't like to talk about, and that's how many people are actually looking at pornography in the Muslim community. And when we as parents don't control computers, then we are setting up our children to be addicts. And then that also affects their marriages. Because people begin to believe, they get deluded that what they see on the computer is what's real. They don't realize the delusion of airbrush. And they also don't realize that that's cut and splice. We'll do a little filming for a few minutes and we'll put it together. We'll do filming a few more minutes and we'll put it together in a few more minutes. And it is a billion-dollar industry of delusion. Appetites urges hunger, thirst, and sexual craving, while anger takes the form of rage, indignation, and revenge. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, do not go near to anger. I'm supposed to avoid it. If I get angry, I'm supposed to sit down. If that doesn't work, I'm supposed to lay down. If that doesn't work, I'm supposed to make my wudu. If that doesn't work, I'm supposed to pray. That's what I'm supposed to do, and it takes patience to do that when we're ticked off, right? And then the other one is what I'm not supposed to do. Hearing, sight, smell, taste, and touch, the 5 internal senses are a challenge for the people at this stage of development in the soul. They have not brought them into submission to God. For example, just to throw this one in the pot here, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said a third of our stomach should be for food, a third for water, and a third for air. Try that when you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Big challenge.
It's a big challenge. So what we're to obey is the third rule. What we're to avoid is gluttony.
Not on turkey day.
Our external senses find expression through specific organs. And I really hope you're internalizing what I'm saying. I beg Allah, I beseech Allah, I implore Allah that He puts it in your heart to really get this. Because it is fundamental to your growth. Allah has given the human qualities which distinguish them from animals and enable them to attain spiritual perfection. These qualities are intellect and will. Human will is conditioned by the intellect, while animal will is conditioned by instinct, anger, and appetite. It is these powers that control and regulate the body and determine the final destination and stage of development of our soul. Since the heart controls and rules over our passions, appetites, anger, impulses, apprehensions, intellect, and will, Allah commanded us to develop our souls through the stages we are discussing. If I am to obey Allah, it is my intention when I do my shahada and I learn about this to move through these stages of development. Islam is not a religion of stagnation. It's not a religion where you walk up the aisle, shake the preacher's hand, become a member, somebody else has done it all for you, you don't have to do anything. That's not what Islam is about. You have to purify yourself, because that soul is going to be returned to Allah. This body that you're satisfying with impulses and desires is going to die. But what you do with that body is going to affect what happens with the soul. Development only takes place when one obeys what Allah has commanded, avoids what He has prohibited, and accepts adversity and prosperity with constant, steadfast contentment as a blessing from Allah. And that is a new way of thinking. If you grew up in a house where you got everything you wanted all your life, and now I want to adopt this attitude of gratitude with Allah. No matter what comes my way, I want to be thankful. It's a new way of thinking. There are also 4 elements in human nature which require patience to bring them into submission to Allah: intellect and reason, lust and gluttony, anger and brutality. Imam Ghazali referred to these elements in human nature as the sage, the pig, the dog, and the devil. Please listen to this. Every person has a constant companion from among the jinn. Every person has a constant companion from among the jinn.
Jinn?
The jinn.
Jinn or jinn?
Jinn.
Jinn.
The jinn.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought you said jinn.
Allah has called a Kareem to accompany every human being. The Kareem pushes a person to do evil things and to disobey Allah. Now the Prophet was an exception, and I will give you the proofs to that. Jinn are supernatural creatures, for my newer Muslims, made of smokeless fire, but are also physical in nature, being able to interact in a tactile manner with people and objects, and likewise be acted upon. Satan is a jinn, not an angel. It would be impossible for an angel to disobey the will of Allah. The 72nd surah of the Holy Quran is entitled Surah al-Jinn. Jinn, humans, and angels make up the 3 known sapient creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like human beings, the jinn can also be good. And I don't want to make this about jinn, but I want you to understand that you got one as a sidekick. That you need to make him a Muslim. Okay? You need to make that jinn a Muslim. And the only way you'll do that is through change. Through having spiritual goals that you are consistently following up on. Somebody's at the door. Somebody can...
Why are we created? I mean, what's the purpose?
I'm going to get there. If I don't, let me know. Like human beings, the jinn can be good, evil, or neutral, benevolent, and hence have free will like humans and unlike angels. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He created jinn and mankind and jinn for what? For naught, except to worship Him. That's why we were created, to worship Him. The shaitan, jinn, are akin to demons in the Christian tradition, but the jinn are not angels, and the Quran draws a clear distinction between the 2 creations. In Surah 18 Al-Kahf, 50 states Iblis was one of the jinn. In Surah 50, verses 27 to 29, his companion, Kareem, will say, "Our Lord, I did not push him to transgression in disbelief, oppression, and evil deeds. But he was himself an error for astray. Allah will say, dispute not in front of me. I had already in advance sent you the threat. The sentence that comes from me cannot be changed, and I am not unjust to the slaves." If you don't bring this jinn into submission, if you don't bring these desires that you have, these impulses that you have, these whims that you have, into submission to Allah, they will get you in the end. And then the shaitan is not going to take up for you. He's actually going to say, "Oh no, don't blame me. You did this." And he's going to have a conversation with Allah. In Surah 14, verse 22, And Shaitan will say when the matter has been decided, verily Allah promised you a promise of truth, and I too promised you, but I betrayed you. I had no authority over you except that I called you, and you responded to me. You see, let me say this right now, folks. We cannot help but be assaulted by the Satan. The Quran says that he will lay in front of you, behind you, and to the right and to the left of you. That's a promise. That's a warning sign. In front of you are your two eyes. Behind you is your brain. And to the right of you is your hands and your ears and your lips. We have to control those things if we want to be the winners on that day. So he said, I called you. I tempted you. I stood a little whisper, a little wasp-wasp, a little whisper to you, and I said, oh, isn't that a fine-looking fellow over there? He's not Muslim. Nobody would ever know it. We can do it the other way around. Any kind of temptation that you've had this week started with a whisper. And sometimes they're loud whispers. They're like blatant. And either you incubated it or you didn't. You said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I will have the patience to avoid that no matter how good it looks. So he goes on and he says, so blame me not, but blame yourselves. I cannot help you, nor can you help me. I deny your former act in associating me, Satan, as a partner with Allah by obeying me in the life of the world. Verily there is a painful torment for the Zalimun, the Polytheists, and the wrongdoers. Dispute not in front of me refers to what Allah will say to the human and his companion from among the jinn. When they dispute before him and the human says, O Lord, this one led me astray from the reminder after it had come to me. And the devil will say, O our Lord, I did not push him to transgression, in disbelief, oppression, and evil deeds, but he was himself in error, astray.